it's like introducing ourselves to each other. So we've got Dylan here, who's just introduced himself. He's from Saudi Arabia, well, living there at the moment. Okay, and what are you studying on the piano at the moment, Dylan? What level, what grade are you on?
8.
You're studying for your grade 8 exam, are you? Okay, we might hear from you later. Okay, and then Rachel, would you like to let everyone else know a little bit about yourself? Who else is here? Because I haven't met you before, have they?
Hi Dylan, hi Angel, nice to meet you. So I'm just started working on grade 6, and I live in Hertfordshire in England, and I've been playing the piano for about 3 years now. So I practice every day for as long as I can.
Yeah. So actually, Angel's also in grade 6, aren't you? Yeah. How long have you been learning, Angel?
About 6 years.
About 6 years. Yeah. Okay. So
I think I've seen Angel play on one of your videos, and she played, and it was absolutely brilliant.
it was a grade 5 mock exam. Was it the grade 5? I think, yeah. And also a long time ago, I think you did the chanson de matin in one of my videos, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, I mean, one of the things that is quite good about these group things, and I was thinking particularly, Rachel gets quite nervous, don't you, in our lessons?
Yeah.
And one of the good things that we can do in this is just put a little bit of sort of, I don't know, pressure in a sense, just to get used to playing in front of other people. Because often when we're practicing, we play it fine on our own, and then we get into an exam and we get nervous because someone's listening. And Rachel sometimes gets even nervous in the lessons, don't you? You put yourself under the pressure. So just getting used to playing in front of other people might be not a bad idea, yeah?
Yeah.
So if anyone's up for it, Dylan, would you be up for playing? Because you played for me quite recently the sonata you were doing, didn't you? The sonata in D.
Yeah.
Would you like to play that for us? Are you feeling up for it?
Okay. There might be like some splotches though.
Well, we're just amongst friends here, okay? And we can maybe give constructive comments to each other. Just move your camera around so we can see the piano. All right. And Angel's adjusting, so maybe getting ready for a performance as well. Okay, Dylan, let's have a listen to what you've been doing recently on this sonata, yeah?
Okay. Pretty nervous
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because when you play in front of other people, you get nervous suddenly. All right, don't worry about it. It's good practice, playing in front of others. nice, Dylan. Thank you very much for that. Okay.
Wow, brilliant.
Okay. We have someone else who's joined. Who do we have here?
Julia.
It's Julia, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Rachel, how are you feeling about?
Yes, well, I'm happy to start off I've got fugue in G, but I will play it very slowly because
Yeah. Yes, because you've only started learning this about 2 weeks ago, from what I remember. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, here we go.
Okay. That was very brave of you. All right, and you've only been learning that a couple of weeks, okay? I could say one thing that I noticed, because I do actually teach you over Skype generally, but I don't normally see your face when we're having lessons because you put the camera down on your hand so I can see your fingering and everything, yeah? But I did notice you looking up and down quite a lot. It's what I call vertical tennis, yeah? And that does tend to create a more hesitant approach. It's just learning a bit of piano geography that will help you be more fluent. If you can just be a bit braver and try and feel your way around the keys without looking down so much. Just a little thought there, yeah? I don't know if anyone else has any comments on what they heard.
I'd never heard this piece before.
Mm-hmm. It's the grade 6 A1, is it?
Oh.
Is it the A1?
A2.
A2, sorry. Yeah, the fugue in G for grade 6. Okay. So, you know, that was a very brave attempt because I know you don't like playing in front of others. It makes you a little bit nervous. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with things like that. That's great. All right. So thank you for that. Do you feel up for anything, Angel? What about your Allegro? Do you feel up for doing anything for us?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is A3.
The
Although
Allegro.
I have.
Yeah, the Allegro in a grade 6 as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I might have a.
Sorry, say again.
I think I might have a bit of trouble playing because I have headphones on. So just so you know.
Okay, so maybe the audio is not the best. Okay, we'll just see how it goes. Yeah. Now we've lost your audio there. I don't know what your mum did when she came in. She's wrecked it. You're trying to play through headphones.
Because my hands get tangled.
Yeah.
But I'll try.
Yeah. Losing audio again somehow. Anyway, that sounded really good. I mean, the first couple of pages, yeah. So I have to sort out a better microphone there. That's sounding very nice, what we did here. And in the sense that you've got some really nice phrasing and shaping of the dynamics, yeah? It's all nice and musical in the way you're phrasing everything. Okay, now, Julia, I don't know, I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but if there's anything you'd like to.
Before I downloaded Skype, I was playing from a jazz book.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose I could try My Funny Valentine.
It would be lovely for you to share with us something, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. One thing I noticed that I was impressed with there is your voicing. Yeah, you bring out the tune nicely, and the chords underneath don't get in the way of the melodies. You've got nice sort of like voicing between the melody and the accompaniments. So that's a very nice plus.
When I noticed when I first started to take the exam, you know, I've been playing a long time on my own, but in front of the examiner, like now, the heart.
Yeah.
The heart just changed.
I know.
As if I'm having a panic. I only took 3 exams, but by the 3rd one, it's almost as if I was going to have a panic attack. I must actually book the lesson now that I've downloaded Skype.
Yeah, but
it
see,
would
the
be
thing,
good.
yeah, I do think that, as I was trying to say earlier, doing this sort of little thing in little small groups, although it's only a small group, it's still a pressure, isn't it? Yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Angel and Dylan and Rachel, did you feel the same when you're playing in front of 3 or 4 other people? The pressure there and your heart starts pounding, doesn't it? Yeah. And
really.
Maybe she's used to it, whereas I'm not. Yeah.
No, you look very confident. Incredible.
so, how did you feel, Angel, playing in front of everyone else?
Well, it was normal,
Just like
I guess.
normal, yeah.
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 Dylan, does it make you feel a little bit under pressure doing it in front of other people?
Yeah, I guess, because like sometimes when I have to do like jumps, it just, yeah, so there's a bit of pressure.
Yeah, okay. And sometimes when we get into exams, that pressure can, you know, send us all over the place and can mess up an exam just because we're not used to playing under pressure. But little experiences like this, I think, will be quite useful, you know, not just giving you lessons on how to play, but also just that experience of playing under pressure. Yeah.
Is it a question of focusing? Just
Yes.
forget everything else and just focus on the music.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I play in an orchestra as well. I don't just play the piano, I play French horn in an orchestra. And sometimes there is a concert hall that's got 2,000 people in it. And you have a rather exposed little moment in an orchestral passage. And even as a professional, the heartbeat speeds up. You do feel that pressure, but you just get used to that feeling and you can focus it and channel it into concentrating more, as you were saying, rather than just letting it send you into a panic.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to do shorthand. And for example, I had to take shorthand exams. And then I suddenly realized in the exam, the hand went rigid. And it's a sort of a similar thing I found with the piano exam, frightened of focusing on playing a wrong note.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like overtaking what's going on in my mind. Instead of just relaxing and playing, you think, oh my God, I didn't press the wrong note. Or
Yeah, now that's the thing about these exams, because we do get so caught up in just trying to play everything perfectly. But the examiners are actually looking for a lot more than just playing the right notes. They're looking for you to be able to play musically, bring out the character, the style of the piece, and create an experience, the difference between a good actor and a bad actor. A good actor will not just know the lines, but he'll involve you emotionally with the plot and the character. Yeah, and it's the same in music. As a musician, you can involve your audience emotionally with what you're doing. Anthony, nice to meet you. We were just talking about playing under pressure and how it sort of affects in the exams and everything else. Yeah.
Well, so not just mentally, I think in terms of physical preparation. So what I try and do before I start is try and do 3 breaths. So where you breathe in, you hold it, and then you breathe out for longer.
Right. So doing some breathing exercises helps to relax you. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, if I take those 4 drops of Bach remedy that you get from a chemist before my lesson, that helps me calm down. And I have half a bottle before the exam.
Anthony, what are your experiences of playing under pressure and nerves and how you cope with them?
I just play through it. I think I mentioned last week that I've played at concerts before on stage for talent shows and things like that. So it never goes away. I just learn to live with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But do you find that at the beginning, when you've got those feelings, it would sort of send you into a panic, but then as you get more used to it, you just focus that energy into something positive now as you just become, familiar with what nerves feel like?
I don't know. I don't think I ever like panicked during exam. Like, I don't know.
Even
I
as a
think
kid,
my musicality has probably improved from practicing playing under pressure, but the intensity of the nerves never goes away. I just play despite it. I don't get less nervous.
But it doesn't affect your playing.
Not too much, I think.
Not too much, yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a definite tendency to play faster than I should. There's always a conscious effort to not rush the piece.
That is another interesting fact, actually. Anyone else found that they play faster when they get nervous?
It's just to get it over and done with as quickly as possible before the hands start shaking uncontrollably.
But
sometimes I play like different tempos when I get nervous. Like I go slower and then I go faster and then like, oh my God, go slower. So then I go slower and then I forget about going slower and then I go faster again.
Yeah, which is why sometimes I do a lot of practice, I don't want to get too mechanical, but just to have a metronome going sometimes when I'm learning a piece, just to get a solid beat going in your head so you understand the pulse of the piece, yeah? Angel, what about you? Do you get faster when you get nervous? Or you don't get nervous? You just totally...
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now, last week we did a little bit of oral training. I don't know if that's useful to anyone or a little oral practice. Would anyone find that something they would like to try, or they have a specific area in the oral test they struggle with?
Describing texture.
Describing texture. Well, there's an interesting one, isn't it? Okay. Have a think about this piece here. Okay. So what would you say about the texture in that then? Anyone got an idea what they mean by the texture? It's
Sounds
really grade 6, isn't it?
Sounds pretty homophonic. There's no polyphony.
Yeah, it's homophonic, so that's one way of describing the texture.
So
But homophonic can have lots of variations on it, can't it? It can be quite a rich texture with lots of really multi-note chords, or it can be just a thin, just duetty type texture, 2 parts, even though they might be homophonic. So, Dylan, yeah?
it's simple, so I would guess this is a classical piece.
Okay, you're going for the style and period, are you?
Yeah.
We can come back to that in a minute, but what about the texture still?
It just sounds like triads, to be fair. I mean, there's no like extended.
Yeah, so it's a fairly thick texture. It's not like 2 parts or something like that, yeah? But homophonic is definitely a good word to use that. How does that help you a little bit, Rachel?
So it's a thin one.
I think you could have thinner. So, for example, what's this piece here about? You see? So, I would say it's thicker than that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right.
I'm not really used to I'm like, when I analyze stuff, it's more like I usually tend to describe things in more concrete terms. I've never really taken to using thick and thin, or like I would usually describe it in terms of, like I said, like homophony or polyphony, or just describe like the chords. So if they're triads or 7th chords or extended chords or things like that.
Well, I think if you're saying triads, I mean, you're already implying something a little bit thicker, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than just a 2-line duet. Okay,
So
now.
what would make it thicker then?
Just adding more levels to it, more lines, more voices. Yeah, so you could talk about 3-note harmony, 4-note harmony. Yeah, how many voices are involved, and whether those voices are, as Anthony was saying, used in polyphony or homophony. So that's the sort of thing they're looking for in the exam for grade 6. What about Dylan's answer about classical? Does anyone
I wonder if is that 20th century?
I was thinking it's a bit later than classical.
Yeah, I was thinking, is the 20th century after classical?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a bit pedaling, I think.
I think it could have been romantic because there was a bit of a richer feeling than the classical. I don't know, maybe classical, between classical and romantic, I thought.
I think
Because-
it's Baroque.
What I
No.
learned,
I
there
don't
wasn't
think it's
that
Baroque.
much.
Right. Anthony doesn't agree with Angel here. So give me your reasons. Why are you thinking of Baroque then, Angel?
The ornamentation, also there wasn't very much dynamic change.
Okay. I'm not sure. There was a little grace note, wasn't it? I had
But it wasn't terraced enough for Baroque.
a little grace note there. Do we not get grace notes or anything like that in other periods?
I have it in the 20th century.
Yeah. I'm thinking of okay, for example.
There was the use of crescendo and diminuendo as well, and
Yeah, I mean, very simple 20th century pieces were like a bluesy piece, yeah? There's an ornament in there. Okay, and that doesn't sound Baroque, does it?
No.
Yeah, so ornaments in themselves don't imply Baroque, although Baroque music does have a lot of ornamentation, but often the ornaments are more than just grace notes. They're like extended trills or mordants and things like that, yeah? So, Anthony, why would you say it wasn't Baroque? What factors of it gave it a different period?
Oh, well,
Polyphonic.
yeah, Baroque is there's usually more than one independent voice.
Yes.
And even though there are Baroque pieces that are homophonic, it's just I don't know. I just do not get the Baroque feel from it, mainly because there's no polyphony, but there's also normally in Baroque music there's a bit more ornamentation, also like turns or mordants, as you said. That didn't really fit.
No.
To me,
Correct.
Baroque.
And another style of Baroque music is the terrace dynamics. You don't really have the crescendo, decrescendo, and the swells, and the sort of rubato feel about this piece that it had, pulling around with the tempo. So where is our consensus heading then, if it's not Baroque?
romantic then.
Romantic.
Yeah, that seems like to the common vote, doesn't it? The romantic period. Yeah, okay. Right, is there anything else that someone wanted to go over they were unsure of in the oral training? Or are we happy for now?
If you have a piece of music and, for example, it fluctuates from major to minor, do you often have to guess if it's major or minor? But how would you do it if it changes?
In the oral tests, major and minor questions come in at about grade 3 oral tests, yeah?
Yeah, yes. But if you have a piece of music and the chords do change in the music.
Mm-hmm. The examiner would probably ask something like, did it finish or start in a major or a minor key?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously in any key, you always have minor chords. You know, in C major, chord 2 is a D minor. So there will be minor chords in the major key. But you usually get the sense of where you've landed when you get to the cadence points, the ends of phrases. And the end of a phrase will sound major or minor when you get to the final chord of the piece. And from there, you can just say, yeah, that's what the tonality is. Does that help a little bit? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there was one other little idea that I had, but it's to have a more of an exam-specific type lessons for different grades. Because at the moment, for example, I'm giving oral tests that, for Julia and Dylan are in different areas of the spectrum, aren't they? And we're trying to get something that's helpful for everyone. But yeah, I'm happy if there's enough support to do it a bit more specific, or maybe narrow it down to like grades 1 to 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8, or something like that. depending on what sort of support we get for the different grades. Yeah. Does that sound like something people might be interested in?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okie dokie. I mean, you're past your grades, aren't you, Anthony?
Well, no, I haven't taken grade 8. I was supposed to do it, but I left Barbados. So I haven't had a chance to do it, and I'm a bit rusty in it. But in terms of playing ability, I'm probably at that level, but I haven't actually like done exam training for a while. And I've sort of left that on the back burner in favor of just doing more advanced pieces.
Uh-huh. Is that something in the future you might think you wanted to do? You know?
Yeah, the main problem that I have is that in the Netherlands, they don't have the ABRSM. They don't follow that syllabus. So they have their own conservatories and things like that. So finding a teacher is very difficult.
That's true, yeah. I mean, it would mean possibly traveling to another country. I've got one student in Czech Republic, yeah? And they do have exams once a year in Prague, but at one time they actually flew to England to do their exam. Yeah, and it's just because I think sometimes the ABRSM is recognized. I mean, what in Saudi Arabia, Dylan, is that the most common form of exam is the ABRSM?
Yeah, but we still only do it once a year.
Yeah, and that is the problem in many countries, isn't it? Yeah.
In Barbados, it's like that too.
Sorry, Anthony?
In Barbados, it's like that as well.
Yes, you do have exams once a year there, do you?
What months do they hold it in?
In like April and May, mostly May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it's very popular in some of the sort of well, Angela, where you are, is it once a year as well?
Thailand, it's twice a year, I think.
Twice a year, yeah. It depends on the popularity of the syllabus, I think, in whatever country. And it seems more popular in Asia than it is in some European countries. Strangely, because they've got their own versions, I think, in European countries.
Do you think it's likely they'll open up exams for December in the UK? Because they certainly won't be having them in June, July.
Who knows? I did see a rumour. I got an email. I don't know if anyone else has got the same email. They're looking about some online solutions.
Yes, I
heard of that. And maybe doing your assessment online.
I don't really think so because somebody can easily cheat, but hopefully not.
Well, yeah. They obviously got to set something up where there will not be any cheating, but there's always a possibility that people could cheat. And how they would test oral and everything. You know.
Well, we do that. We do that by Skype anyway. I don't see why it's a problem. And
yeah,
how could you cheat though if you were, they could see your hands playing? I don't see how you could cheat.
I suppose the thing about doing a live exam is that if you could record it, you could take it 50 times until you got your best performance. Whereas the live exam is you've got to do it the best you can on one take, haven't you? It's a little bit like this.
How would you do sight reading in an online situation?
That's another question, isn't it? How would they do that?
Because when you're on Skype, then they just put up on the chat, you put up that this is the piece I want you to play, and you've got your 30 seconds to prepare, and then you just play it.
Exactly. But the thing is, as some of you are aware, sometimes the internet isn't the best medium for getting a really good assessment of how well you're doing something. The audio quality or the lag in time in the internet. Yeah. So dynamics don't always come out over Skype in the best way. Yeah. So like, for example, sometimes I'm looking with Angel, some of your quieter pieces, I said, can you send me a recording of them? Because what we're getting in the lesson, I'm not really feeling the dynamics, that prelude in B minor you're doing. Yeah. And that is a lot of really sensitive, quiet playing, which Skype just doesn't do justice to. Yeah. If you could do a little video recording of it, then it's much better. Yeah. So yeah, you can do things live, like a sight reading test like that. But I think to really assess someone's finer control of their tone and dynamic shaping and everything else,
Because in the exam, they don't even look at you anyway. You're sitting there in there behind their desk. They're busy writing, and you know, at an angle behind the piano, so they can't even see. If you really wanted to cheat, you could suddenly put a recording on and pretend you're playing and have your recording going.
Yeah, absolutely. Or have someone else come and do it. Yeah, because there was this whole thing at the beginning of the year. There was this whole thing at the beginning of the year of people having to bring photo ID, isn't there? You remember?
Yeah.
Knew that started, wasn't it? So, yeah, how they're going to solve it. There was something about in the email that they sent out that it's going to have to be looked at carefully, so it's a fair and, you know, a just sort of accreditation of what you can actually do. But how they're going to do that, we'll have to wait and see. Let's watch this space, I think. Anyway, so it's been nice to meet you all today, and maybe we'll have a chat again next Friday at the same time if you found that useful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay then. All right. We'll see you all next week. You take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.